And the next stage is the boiler. So this is on page 5 of the manual. And the boiler comes pretty much all complete, but there's a whole lot of bits and bobs to go on it. Got the sand dome, which goes on the top there. There's a little screw to hold it on, which I'll try and get on. There we go. And then the steam dome, which is the next bush down, and that has the safety valve in it. There are O-rings to go to seal all these, and in your pack you've not only got the parts for the stage, but there's a separate pack for nuts and bolts, another one for O-rings, and another one for lots of little brass bits and bobs. So you just have to hunt through. And this part goes inside the cab, and this is actually a filler valve, so you can take that out to fill the boiler, or you can fill it with a little pump through the top when it's in steam. That's the base for the steam dome, and this is the top, which screws on separately to the safety valve. So there it's beginning to look like something. Now at this end we've got the regulator or throttle valve, and that comes with this little spindle, and I've had to fit that O-ring to make it seal. Yeah. And that goes in the end there. And there's a handle to go on it, which has a grub screw. So that needs tightening up to set the actual lever. And also the burner, there's a little ring goes on the back of the burner, which you use to set the air to gas mixture. It has a screw to lock it in place, and the burner itself screws on the bottom of the boiler with yet another little screw. The smokebox door assembly with the little magnets, it's all held together with stainless screws, which you need to use the little Phillips screwdriver for. And then I also fitted the boiler bands, and these are quite awkward little blighters, but I find I hold them in place with a bit of masking tape, and then you can just pop in the little nut and bolt and tighten them up. So that finishes that stage. So this is page 6, next item on the build, and this time we've got to look at fitting the lubricator and the little gas tank. When I say gas, it's not American gas, it's propane, so not gasoline. So we've got the parts out of the kit, so that's the lubricator and main steam pipe, and it goes on like so, and there's a nut to hold it on the foot plate. And once we come to the propane tank, there's a little bit more complicated. Just to confirm, the correct gas for this model is actually butane or butane propane mix, which works a little bit better in the cold weather. And it has an adapter that goes on the top of the can so that you can fill the engine. I found it pays really to refer to the diagrams and look at all the numbers, so make sure you've got all the parts, because some of them are really small and can easily be overlooked or lost. And in addition to the parts here, you've also got your nuts and bolts, so it's worth going through and finding the nuts and bolts that hold the various parts on. And O-rings, this bit in particular has 2 little O-rings on it, and the O-rings are in a separate pack, so it's worth sorting all that out before you get started. We've got the lubricator, which I've fitted, so the main steam pipe goes here, and then that one will go onto the boiler, but that's bolted down now, and I've also done the butane tank. Now there's a little filler in the top, and that needs a special tool to actually assemble it. So I've made a tool out of a little bit of copper pipe with 2 little tabs on it. It's just a case of sawing it down from each side, and then that goes over the top and you can put in or take out the gas filler valve and keep that in case you ever need to change the gas filler valve. Then the gas regulator, there's this little screw here, and that's had to have 2 O-rings fitted to it. So the very small one and the not quite so small one, and the handle goes on with a little grub screw as well. And just a spot of oil, as with all the other O-rings, they all work a lot better with a bit of oil on them. So now we come to the momentous stage of putting on the boiler. It's got a screw in the bottom which goes through that slot in the footplate, and then there's 4 screws at the front in the smoke box going through the saddle. So stand it on, just start the steam pipe to hold it in place. These can be a bit awkward, these pipes. I had to get a little bit of paint out of that nut to get it to go nicely. And also, when you come to get these nuts and bolts inside the smoke box there, I find the best way is to get a little bit of masking tape, double it over and stick it on your finger, and then you can stick a nut on the end of the tape, little 2mm nuts, stick it on the tape, and then you can get right in with your finger and tighten the bolts up. So now we're fitting the gas system. We've got the tank on. I put the jet into the little holder. Now that's important that it makes a proper seal. So I put some of this Loctite 290, just a little drop on the end of a stick to seal there. If you don't have that, gas comes out round the thread and upsets the mixture. So the burner goes in there. You've got a pipe with its little union on it, and then we've got to bend it into place. Bend that end down, then this one will bend as well. Get it into its union, and I should be able to just ease it round. It's soft copper, so it's quite flexible. Bend it into place. Right, haven't got that one going right in yet. There we are. And once we're happy with the positioning of all that, we can tighten up these 2 nuts, and that will seal the pipe in position. So that's all the gas system. And next we come to the side tanks. Really, this is all the working parts, and what we're doing now is cosmetic. There's 2 little strips that go along the top of those brackets. And the tanks just sit on top. But before you actually fit them, they need a little bit of assembly. So as they come out of their wrapper, they come apart, and you can take the foam out. This is just packing. And then they go back together like so, with 2 of these little 2mm screws. If I'm lucky, they might actually go in. Let's line them up a little bit more. That's one. retighten the first one. And now with the other slightly longer screws, we're ready to set those on the top of the brackets. Oh, wrong way around. Get the lining on the outside. And the open bit of the back ready for the cab to go on.